every passing round, those odds are getting better. As far as the knockout goes, it's a
What's up, guys? How's everyone doing today? Hopefully everyone's well. This is Saturday morning at 10:15 a.m. here in Sydney, Australia. Wherever you are in the world, I say welcome. Hopefully you're doing good. Happy Valentine's Day to my girlfriend. Happy Valentine's Day to all the people out there who are with somebody that they care about, who also cares about them. Guys, we just had fights end. So I'll get in this live stream. I'll go over all the action that we have. I'll go over the live tickets that we have. We started the week on fire, and we're continuing our trend. Fingers crossed going into the weekend. You know, I always say you can do all the research you want. Sometimes you need to be a little bit lucky. Sometimes you need to be a little bit sort of intuitive about the whole thing. So we just watched a fight card from the UK, and I'll go over that in a second. Before I continue, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. We're growing. Our Patreon is growing. Our Discord is growing. I want to say thank you to all the OG day ones. I love the messages that I get on Instagram saying, Johnny, I've been watching your content on YouTube since, 2021, 2020. It's awesome to see how it's evolving. Back then, I was just doing boxing documentaries and combat sport interviews. And then since 2023, really since the Errol Spence Jr. Terrence Crawford fight camp, I started kind of doing just boxing. And then just this past July, I started live streaming. We started the JSB Discord in August, and now it's February. We are 365 JSB insiders. So to get all my picks, to join our betting community, also in that betting community, guys, in the next few weeks, we're launching an F1 channel. We're launching NRL. We're launching AFL. We're launching Major League Baseball. We just launched a shout out to, I think his name is, I have to look in the Discord. We just launched a new channel today called Miscellaneous Betting, where a lot of people are just kind of using that as a community section for like all sorts of, I guess, online betting, e-betting, that sort of thing. So to get in the Discord, the link is pinned right there. It's a couple bucks a month. JSB Insider on YouTube. Become a JSB Insider on Patreon. You get all of my picks. Right now, live, our long parlay is live. Our short parlay is live. We have, I gave you 2 more tickets today. I gave you guys my prop of the week, which pays plus, and they're all plus money. Prop of the week plus money, a 2-leg method of victory, which pays plus 400. I'm excited about. We'll need to get a little bit lucky, and we'll go over all of the fights in this live stream. You guys can ask me whatever you want. We have a big next few weeks ahead of us as well. So this is kind of a calm before the storm in terms of big, massive fights. We know that January was massive for us, and the start of February was as well. I kind of like that this week is sort of quiet a little bit as we get busy again. So I want to go over, I'm going to put, this is our Discord. So if you guys aren't in the Discord, I'm just going to use this to kind of talk about what we just saw today in the fights. So I was currently running a 5K when this fight was on. What was it? Thomas Asumba versus Masood Abdullah. So this is the Masood Abdullah prop. Now, I got to be honest with you. My book didn't give me the prop, but let me get rid of that. Give me 1 second. Okay, so here's the Discord. So my betting app this morning didn't give me the prop, but we did take Masood Abdullah on the money line, so he's one of the legs on our parlay. And shout out to the Discord in the chat. Shout out to No Limit. And so this is one of the benefits of joining the Discord. It's not just me, obviously. It's the community, and it's the live betting strategies with a lot of the sharps in this group. In our group, in our community, a lot of the guys on this live stream, they know what they're talking about. You know what I'm saying? I'm just one of the talking voices who just actually serves as sort of the conduit of what we're doing. It's not just me and everyone else. It's a community. It's everyone. So No Limit went heavy. Shout out to the best community in the game. He bets, and this is something we were talking about the last 24 hours. If you could get the prop on Masood Abdullah by stoppage, only because we knew Thomas Asuma was coming up a few weight classes, I did say this was a half unit betting week for me, but No Limit is a sharp. And this is probably, I've seen him bet way more than this, so he's a big timer here. 2 G's to win 4,800. So that's a massive prop. It's a great way to start the weekend. Shout out to No Limit. And appreciate shout out to the best community in the game, 100%. And then who else? Power 44 says, in the words of Johnny, we are up. Good eye. Shout out to Power 144, Masood Abdullah. He took the prop as well, and the prop was paying plus 230. So it's a good start. What I'm gonna do now is go over. Let's see. Let me just fill in the blanks here. So Max says, am I the only one who thinks Mario Barrios beats Ryan? I say no. We'll get into. I told you guys the way I'm going to play Garcia and Barrios. I'm going to wait until almost fight night because I like Barrios to win, but I think the odds. Barrios is already a massive underdog. I think as we get closer to fight night, I'm expecting a lot of that sort of social media influencer money will be coming in even heavier on Ryan. So I'm going to wait and try to catch Mario at even better odds on the money line. Anyone betting on the One Championship MMA tonight? See it. Hefe Picks says, anyone betting on the One Championship MMA tonight? I didn't even know there was MMA on tonight. But if you guys, like I said, if you guys are into MMA, we have an MMA channel in there. I'm going to pull up the odds right now on my book. And let's see where we are. So if you're in the Patreon, if you're insider on YouTube, check the members only section. You guys should have the long parlay. You have the short parlay. Both of those are active with wins. Our short parlay, we only need 2 to hit. And our long parlay, it's a 10-legger. The first leg just came through. We have our prop of the week up there. We have our 2-leg method of victory parlay. I gave you guys, we already hit our underdog of the week, and we hit a method of victory already with the female card, the Carolyn Vire card. So that's 6 tickets just in a slow week, and we've already won 2 of the 6, and 2 more are active with wins on them. And then I posted 2 more today, and for just feeling froggy, I think I am going to do 1 more. So much for a slow week, right? But this is what we do. This is what we do. This is fun. So there's a lot more action on my book. I was I was actually this is how big I was actually not so much taping, but I was researching Labano Zhanghaj versus Pejman Shvekhani, and it's a very obscure heavyweight fight. Russian, I'm pretty sure. And Labano, one's undefeated, one has 1 loss. I'm not gonna play. This isn't. I don't have action yet. I'm waiting to watch tape. But I'm thinking this $1.67 is a nice little prop. I think Labano is going to get a stoppage. I think the card is built around him to get this stoppage. And if I play it, I'll let the insiders know. If anything, I'll probably play that prop and put it on something else. But for now, I'm going to say what's up to everybody. We're going to say our hellos. What's up, Sal? Johnny, hope all is well. Do you think Umar? Come on, Sal. Dude, you're giving away the game. You're giving away the game. I do think Zambekov. That is check the members only section on YouTube. It's a fight that I like. And it's a fight. The Zambekov fight is a fight that I was waiting for props to open up, and they did open up, and I do have action. We got a Patreon, one of the Patreon boys. What's up, LBJ? I answered your question in the Patreon, LeBron. Don't go heavy this weekend. I mean, whatever your unit of betting normally is, whether it's, $10, $100, $1,000, just cut it in half. Kind of like go half. That's my strategy this weekend. You don't have to listen, but I know that was your question to me. Dwayne Styles, salute. My birthday's in 48 hours. Valentine's Day, boy. Happy birthday, Dwayne. Dwayne's in sort of a fight camp in Mexico. Thought on Ryan Garcia and Mario fight. I broke this fight down. My Stats Don't Lie video will drop the beginning of next week. I'm going to say what's up to the chat first, and then I will circle back. Guys, if you're not following me on Instagram, go to Instagram, Johnny Stavko. I'll show you real quick. And I put up segments from these questions from you boys. And I just posted yesterday on my Instagram me breaking this down kind of like in real time. Not my official prediction, but if you do use IG, yeah, here it is. If you do use IG, just you send me a follow. I'll follow you back. Just be like, hey, Johnny, this is so-and-so from YouTube. So on my wall right now, this is my take on Barrios and Ryan. I haven't put any, and this is from yesterday's live stream. And if you want to see my take on yesterday, I post, a couple times a day. My take on Gary Antoine Russell. So up there is my take on Gary Antoine Russell and Andy Hiroka. Right there. Emmanuel Navarrete, Sugar Nunez, I posted yesterday. These aren't official. These are just in real time. I will be doing a Stats Don't Lie breakdown video of my film study this coming week on these. And then you got Barrios, Garcia there. And I also have Hitchens and Duarte right there. And that should catch us all up to speed. But yeah, just hit me up on the gram and I'll follow you back. It's a good way to keep in touch. I use my Instagram story as sort of a news ticker as well. So like if ever you're like, hey, when are the fights? You could just go to my Instagram, check the story. I always have the schedules up. I do voter polls, all that. It's a good way to interact. I actually enjoy it. We got Mike Ross. What round did Masood last round, bro? You know how this game is. Last round. What's up, Perth? Perth in the house. Skeezy, who's your NRL team? Another fight added on Sportsbet, Labano Pesman. Yeah, that's the one I was looking at, bro. I think I'm close to playing Labano a method on that, just for the sake of it. Hey, Johnny, what's the logic for not having your plays in the Discord? So Daily Dig, great question, and here's the logic. So I launched the Discord in August, and it was all a and it is a learning experience. I had never heard of Discord up until you guys asked me to start one. I'm not a gamer. I've never played any. The only video games I've ever played in my entire life was I had an N64 when I was a kid, so I played Mario Kart, and I played on the Super Nintendo the Mario games, and I played on the regular Nintendo a game called Baseball Stars and Tecmo Bowl. But other than that, nothing, right? So when we first launched the Discord, you would sign up. They don't have a paywall for itself, right? So the paywall to get to the Discord is a couple bucks a month. It's on YouTube. So once you sign up on YouTube, you get into the Discord. And then in the Discord, I had all of my picks every week. What was happening was people were signing up and then canceling their YouTube channel just to get in the Discord and then not re-upping. And then the guys who were not re-upping were taking my picks. And then over time, it started getting in. There were like trolls in there, right? People started to, because if you're in a community and you're not paying to be there, you're not going to respect the community. So over time, I've learned how to put everything behind a paywall, and we have moderators now, and that's why if you've been in there since day one, if you're in there now, you could tell how streamlined it is as well. So to get all my picks, on my YouTube channel. So you're joined on my YouTube channel, Daily Dig. Just go to my interface, go to members posts, you'll see all my picks. And like LeBron James is a Patreon. He's in the Discord. The Patreon has their own picks. But it kind of like helps separate the sort of slugs, the trolls, and that sort of thing. Half unit type of fight. High interest, my guy. What's up, brother? I appreciate the super chat. High interest is an OG. Johnny says VIP day one. Always supporting the channel. I appreciate you guys. However, you can support the channel, whether you like this, subscribe to the channel, you want to get in the Discord, the link is pinned. Thank you. We're floating. We're about 14 minutes in. We're floating between 40 and 60. All I ask, if you can, just like the video, and then we can continue this conversation. It's Valentine's Day here, so I do have. I got the shave up, and I got the lineup already. But I gotta go. I gotta make sure my outfit's nice for the night. I'm just going to dinner with my girl, local. My NRL team is Parramatta. Okay, I cheered for Parramatta for a few years because when I first moved to Australia, I didn't know who to cheer for. I lived in Mossman, so everybody I worked around were Manly Sea Eagle fans. Right when Cherry Evans was coming up, and then over time, I live in the lower North Shore. So I go to all the Leichhardt Oval games. So I'm a West Tiger fan, and I loved watching Benji Marshall when Benji played. I never played NRL, I played American football, but the way Benji played, and my first podcast, I used to interview rugby players. So Jonathan Thurston, probably my favorite player, played up in Queensland. Like the way Thurston would play the game, the intuitiveness about his game, Yeah, it's one of my favorite sports, believe it or not. What what's your go-to breakfast? I don't really, so it is, just to be all, transparent with you. It's 10:30 in the morning on Saturday, right? I woke up at 5 a.m. this morning. When I wake up, this is how I do every morning. This is in my second book, The 24-Hour Reset. I'll show you real quick. So it's chapter 3 in my latest book is called Habit 3. It's called Fuck Breakfast. So this is my second. So I'm a published author. I've written 2 books. This is my second one. This is just a. This was a guide. This is a book that I wrote. Chris Algieri's in this book. Um, a bunch. Jay Cutler's in this book. So sports scientists, entrepreneurs, a bunch of people in this book. But I wrote this as a guide for for people who are lost, who feel like they're way behind the 8 ball with their health, and they think they got to change everything, and they have to hire a coach, and they have to join a gym, and they have to buy supplements. It's like, no, you need to simplify things. So the 24-hour reset is how you could get healthy before you even leave your house. So it's things like, as you know, there's 8 habits of doing this. This is my system. One of those habits is I don't eat breakfast, and I think it's kind of a, as we've evolved, especially in the West, we were told we have to eat 3 square meals a day, and we label, you have to eat breakfast, you have to eat lunch, you have to eat dinner. It's crazy to me as a coach that we apply the same rules we do for 9-year-olds to 40-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? The way I ate at 9 should be the way I eat at 40. Our bodies change, our central nervous system changes, our diagnostic changes, our energy levels change, all that good stuff. So at this stage of the game, I haven't even eaten yet. I've been up since 5. I've had a coffee. I've done 30 minutes of calisthenics, and I just ran a 5K. I've shaved. I've showered. I'm live streaming now. Haven't eaten. After this live stream, I'm going to eat a ribeye. So what I do is I eat in windows. So I usually will eat in between this. I've usually eaten by now, usually between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. I eat. So that's a window. I don't call it lunch, dinner, breakfast. In that window, I eat whatever I want. But whatever I want is really healthy. So I eat a lot of, fish, so salmon, white fish. I eat a lot of beef. I'll eat steak once a week. I like pork. I like chicken thigh. And I eat a lot of fruit, so grapes. I eat a lot of oranges, bananas, that sort of thing. But I don't meal prep. I don't measure my calories. I've never been on a diet. I don't use words like diet or meal programming. It's all about educating people on what best works for you. And the thing that doesn't work for us, especially as men over the age of 40, is processed foods, sugars, breakfast. The last thing, think about it. If you go to bed for like 6 to 8 hours, you've laid in this one spot on your mattress for 6 to 8 hours. You haven't moved, you haven't burned any energy. That's why. So when you start researching the effects of the role that the central nervous system plays in our body, when you have energy, it takes energy. So people are like, hey Johnny, I spent all day Saturday laying on my couch, I can't, why am I tired? It's because you didn't burn energy. The only way to have energy is to burn energy. Okay, that's the way our energy system works. That's the role of our central nervous system. So if we spend 6 to 8 hours sleeping, we're comatose, we haven't moved. Why in the world would the first thing we do when we wake up is eat? You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those things that you just have to. Daily habits are very important, and a lot of times, the habits that were told to us by when we were kids were told to us by people who didn't have any idea anyway. The average general practitioner, the average doctor, doesn't have a degree in nutrition, doesn't know anything about the food. And this is a crazy thing in America. It was only since 2001 that you could even get a college degree in sports science, which is crazy. So that's it. Sorry, that was long winded. Once in a while, I do eat some going. Look, and I'm not perfect. So the one thing you have to understand about me is I'm very malleable. Like I don't drink, but it's not like I like if. How do I say this? And I'm just being real with you. I don't drink, but if I had a friend visiting me, we'd probably go get drunk. So it's not like I don't drink because I say no to alcohol. It's just I choose to not drink because I have to stay switched on, and I like feeling amazing in the morning. I like being active, but it's not like I'm anti-alcohol. Like if my buddy was visiting me from America, we'd probably go get hammered. We'll probably go. And I grew up in an era where we would get drunk and go dancing. So like I grew up like in the '90s, we would go to clubs and hip hop dancing, and so So I say that just so you know, it's not like I'm one of these guys. Say no to alcohol. Say no. Nah, if there's something you want to do it, but hold yourself accountable. Don't pawn other things off on why things aren't working out for you. So that's my stance on everything, even food. For instance, yesterday I ate I finished my last meal at like 5 p.m. I'm watching some true crime at 7 p.m. and I was, didn't want to eat another meal, but don't let, I love sugar and I love chocolate. So I went up to the corner store and I bought a chocolate brownie and I bought a little other little snack. So it's not like I don't put handcuffs on everything. I live my life. This is with everything. I live my life with like I have boundaries, but I'm open. You know what I mean? You don't. No, I don't. No, by choice. That's the secret to the game. I've been with my girl for go. I met her in 2017 when I moved to my new spot. So I lived in one spot from 2013 to 2017. I got this spot in 2017. And I've been on my own since I was 18 years old, so I'm very comfortable living on my own. And so I'm at the corner. This is when I used to smoke a lot of weed. 2017, I used to smoke. I used to rent my room out to a Muay Thai fighter, and he had just gotten back from Thailand. And I guess all the Muay Thai fighters in Thailand, they always smoke. And so when I was living with Jesse, shout out to Jesse, man. I miss that dude. We used to have sparring war. Every Muay Thai fighter I've ever sparred with wants to spar just boxing. And their feet are flat. They just stand in front of you. It's so easy as a boxer to fight Muay Thai guys in boxing rules, mind you. I'm not gonna challenge a Muay Thai guy to Muay Thai rules. I don't elbow or kick. But he would smoke so much weed. So I started smoking so much weed. Again, I smoked a lot of weed when I was like from 20 to 24. Um, but this I would have been 34 here, and I'm high as hell. It's like probably 2 p.m. Got these big aviators on. It's sunny out. I go to the corner. I go to the where all the shops are. I live in a beautiful neighborhood. Very fortunate. Very grateful. All the open air markets. I'm just, in my own world, probably listening to like Sublime High. And I'm going down an escalator, or I'm going up an escalator, and I see this girl going down, and she's like waving, and I go like, she goes, Johnny, I didn't know you lived here, and I just went, I was all, I'm a weird like. I can't be talking to people in public if I'm stoned. So I'm like, hi. And I just kept going. And she messaged me on Facebook. She recognized me from the gym, and that's my girlfriend. So she owns her own. She's like a um, equity partner in a big firm. She owns her own spot in a separate neighborhood, but we live in the same neighborhood. So it just kind of worked out. I'm looking for Valentine's Day. Haven't I luck? Does your girl got a homegirl? Should I hit for? You got to go to the old box spots. Yo, if your girl lets you hit the old box, if you haven't paid for box, you got to check the old box spots. You still good. I don't believe in Valentine's Day, by the way. Like, it's not, I'm not a fan of like Valentine's Day. Like in Ohio, dude, I don't know where you guys are from. I'm sure you'll let me know. In Ohio, we had two Valentine's Days. In October, we had Sweetest Day. I was like, man, I'm poor as hell. I ain't got no money. I have to. So I just didn't have a girlfriend. I would hook up with chicks when I was younger, but you ain't my girl. When you're like 18, 19, and 20, you don't got no money. You're just trying to hook up with chicks. So like, but in Ohio, we had a thing called Sweetest Day, and it was October. And then I remember when I moved to LA when I was 24, they didn't have it. And I'm like, I felt like they stole something. I was like, what? You dudes don't have to like buy your girl stuff in October? They're like, nah, I ain't never even heard of a Sweetest Day. So it's something that like I don't know, wherever you guys are from, have you heard of Sweetest Day? It's crazy. We used to call it a Hallmark holiday. They kind of made it up. A new subscriber with the guy with the green hat. New subscriber, the guy with the green hat. Yeah, what's up, man? We usually talk just boxing. It's a Saturday live stream. You ask your boxing questions, we get into it. We're floating between 60 and 80 right now. We got a couple of tickets live. We got a lot of action tomorrow. Nothing too heavy, though. Not a lot of big fights are happening next week moving forward. We got the Zuffa card, the FA Ajagba versus Charles Martin fight. So we got action on that. There's a couple good, just I told everybody going into this week, boys, this was a half unit week for me in terms of if you're new to betting, whatever you generally bet, your amount, cut that in half. Really appreciate the effort you put. I love it, man. LeBron James. I was 7 years old when my father took me to my first boxing gym. I was a little runt. I used to get bullied a lot growing up in Youngstown, Ohio. And shout out to my pops, rest in peace. But he kind of knew. He kind of knew that. At 7, I was like attached to I was like my mom's. My mom was my best friend, and I was real soft. 7. It was 7, little boy. You're a little boy at 7, dude. So my dad takes me to. So at 7, my dad had me boxing and playing American football. I also played basketball and baseball as well. But boxing was my first love. So I treat this, and I run my own fitness business both online and from I converted my whole garage into a gym, so it's an invite only, and I sort of live my life. Everything that I do in my life I choose to do, and I've created it by choice. So it took me a while. Some advice I would give any younger guy out there is that it's never too late to start a passion, and it's no matter where you come from. Because I grew up on welfare. I didn't, my dad passed away. I didn't get I, people out here. Their parents pass away. They get like homes. A lot of people get like a will. And I'm saying this is like I'm saying this is just it's real. My dad passed. I get his wedding ring, which I haven't. I'm gonna melt down one day and probably melt it into something else because his hands are that big. I say all that to say this: you could do whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter where you come from. Like I talk about that in my first book. It's like if there's somebody out there doing something that you want to do, you could do it. And unfortunately, coming where I come from, we didn't have a lot of people talking like that. I didn't have any role models speak like in Youngstown, Ohio in the 90s, dude. It was one of the highest murder rates in the world per capita. But that's why I've always loved boxing. And it just, yeah, I stopped boxing when I was 15, and I didn't kind of reconnect until I was 30. So I'll be 44 in April. Do professionals boxers, they don't usually smoke and drink, but Muay Thai fighters do. It's something that happens in Thailand. And then look at Ricardo Mayorga. Mayorga is a very famous example of this. In Google, if you really want to get down a rabbit hole, Google Muay Thai fighters Thailand or Bangkok and type in smoking. Because um, what's his name? What's up, Daily? Do you think yeah, that's my play. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. That's my play. I have Nishida on the money line and Nishida on points. Let's have a look at it. So, guys, we're going to take a look at Nishida fight El Rayo, the Japanese Rayo. Fun fighter, action-packed fighter, archetypal Japanese slugger, modern era Japanese slugger. Not a lot of head movement. Is going to be there to get hit. Wants to throw bombs. Wants to stand in the pocket. Nishida versus Mercado Vasquez. Okay, so these are the odds. Now I have Nishida. I'm kind of rolling the dice here. I don't usually do this. I don't usually put the same fighter on multiple parlays. And this comes down, guys, to the strategy of betting that I always talk about. There's one thing with picking accurate fights and the right fighter wins. There's another thing with knowing how to strategize parlays and understand like risk versus reward and then odds, meaning that I never suggest if you're a parlay guy, not everyone's a parlay guy. I'm kind of a parlay guy. It's fun. I like method of victory too. And then when I do have a sort of like take a risk on my bankroll, I'll always go the heaviest on just a money line bet, usually a dog. So when I'm betting my heaviest, it's usually on like a sort of Brandon Figueroa on the money line, Josh Kelly on the money line, and that's when it's like the stress levels, the pump. I do my best work like that though. Everyone's wired differently. So my point is, I have Nishida on a couple parlays. I have Nishida on a money line parlay. These odds are crazy. I got him. These odds are I got him at $1.22. So there's a lot of money coming in on Vasquez. I have him on a long. I have him on a short parlay. I also have him on a method of victory parlay. So the problem with that is if he loses, 2 parlays are dusted. I have 7 in total. 2 have hit, 2 more alive, and I gave you guys 3 new ones. So of the 7, two of them have Nishida on it, and one of those has Nishida on points at $1.69. I paired that with another method of victory. Do you think Martin can roll the right hand and counter with short shots? Are you talking Frank Martin or are you talking Charles? An opinion about Chisora. Look, man, I gotta be honest with you. War Chisora, he worked his way into this fight. He got this fight. I've watched like he when he won his last few fights, he was saying because people wanted him to walk away from the sport, but he was like he was open about it. He wanted one more payday. He wanted a big feature. He wanted a big event around him. And the issue with that was he was saying that coming off of a loss, but then he put a couple wins together. And look, man, say what you will about Derek Chisora. He's good for the sport, dude. This is one of the things that he's the characters in our sport is what makes our sport the greatest sport in the world. These characters. War Chisora is one of these characters. Look at this. Look at this freaking veteran ass record. 36 and 13, 26 knockouts, been stopped 4 times, 113 years old. No, I'm kidding. He's not that old. But this is what I'm talking about. You know, like he loses 3 in a row. He loses 3 in a row, and everybody told him to hang it up. Announcers, analysts. He loses to Usyk. He loses to Joe Parker twice. He comes back to fight Pulev. He loses to Fury. When he lost to Fury, they're like, all right, mate, you won one. Let's hang him up. And he was like, no. He fights Joe Washington, gets the dub. He fights Joe Joyce and gets the dub. Starts calling for a bigger fight. They're saying, all right, you beat Joe Joyce, retire. He's like, no, I got a little bit left. Beats Otto Wallin, I got a little bit left. And he fought his way into getting this fight. So what does that tell me? I think, let's see what the odds are. On some real levels, when we're talking about motivations, even though he might be 136 years old, I don't know. I want to see what the odds are real quick. Because at this stage of the game, you have, and then we know about Wilder. I don't like what I've seen. I don't think anybody is standing really comfortable with Deontay Wilder betting on him. And then like, he's just not the same guy after doing ayahuasca. This sounds like a joke. It's not a joke. I've done DMT before. So the active ingredient in ayahuasca is called DMT, dimethyltryptamine. So I've done that before. I know what it does. It's a really, really intense psychedelic. Dude, I used to date a goddamn hippie, by the way, back in the day. This is when I was in my late 20s. So I've done it. Everything except shooting stuff up and steroids. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to psychedelics, when it comes to hallucinogens, this is back in the day when I was younger. Crazy boy. I was crazy. DMT, dimethyltryptamine. Now, ayahuasca is the Brazilian brew. So it's a spiritual journey. It's really, really intense. It usually takes 10 to 12 hours. You vomit, you purge, and then you're in this complete different space. It's pretty, you have a guide, a spiritual guide. It's really woo-woo sort of stuff. But things that, you have these experiences and you hear a lot of people who they change their life after, it attracts a lot of people who are looking for a reset. And then you have a quicker version called DMT, which is the active ingredient in ayahuasca that you could either smoke, and that's the way I've done it. Shout out to Julian Palmer. If you guys want to go down a rabbit hole, Julian Palmer was an ethnobotanist in Queensland in the late 90s. He's an Aussie. I had him on my podcast once, and he researched this form of ayahuasca called changa. And basically, changa, what he would do is find indigenous Australian plants and roots. And if he realized that if you put them all together and ground them up and smoked it was DMT. So I interviewed him on my podcast once for an hour. And then afterwards, he got we talk after. This would have been in 2019. He mailed me in the mail a bag of changa. So I remember I did it right here. I did the changa here. I did the DMT maybe 10 years prior. But anyway, when you do it, it changes you. Deontay Wilder's not the same guy. He's like he's not mean anymore. He's like emotional, and I don't know, man. To be a knockout artist in the heavyweight division, you have to be a freaking savage, dude. You can't be thinking about consequences, and you have to. And he's not that guy anymore. Chisora though. Let's see. Let's see what these odds look like. Wow, this is insane. That's crazy. Chisora is the favorite. Yeah, Chisora is a favorite. I'm not. I don't have any comment right now. I'm not. I don't even want to think about that fight. I'd rather watch that fight as a fan, to be honest with you. Frank Martin versus Nahir Albright. Who do you guys got? What's up, Timothy J? Um, Nahir Albright, smooth operator. Frank Martin. We know what we get with Frank. Right now, I'm leaning with Frank. Let's look at the odds. I like. People are gonna say Rancy's Bartholomew was washed. Yeah, but I mean, Frank is the one who still had a fight. I'm a former world champion. Frank looked great. Albright, he's going to be more of a sort of more well rounded. He's a good boxer. Let's see where the odds are. I think Frank has that X factor. There's an X factor about him. It may it's not just his athleticism. It's not just his explosivity. There's sort of like a. It's hard to explain. I liked what he looked like. The thing with Frank inactive. He's not young, but he's young to the game too. So I feel with Nahir Albright, he's a finished product. He's easier to game plan for. You know what you have to expect. Longer tools, certain range and distance he's gonna be good at versus where he's uncomfortable at. That's with Frank Martin. The X factor with him is he because he picked boxing up late. I feel he adds layers a little bit. He could still add things to his game. That's what I think the X factor is with Frank. Let's see what these odds are. There's so many good fights, guys. Lee Wood versus Warrington, GAR versus Hiroka, Hitch versus Duarte, Barrios versus Garcia. Maybe this is under B. So my book here in Australia has it broken down A, grade B, grade C. Oh yeah, they put Frank Martin and Nahir Albright under grade B. Talk about the shade. Why I gotta be a B fighter? Why y'all be putting me under the B side? Ooh. See, this changes. I mean, Nahir is 100% live in this fight. Plus 240. 100% live. That's crazy. I thought this was a 50-50 fight before I looked at the odds. Based off of pedigree, um, I think Nahir with the whole, I think he's the one who came out. He's the one who came out on top with everything that happened in Norfolk. Uh, Tough fighter. We'll see. We'll see. I'm kind of shocked with those odds. I thought that on paper, I think it's a 50-50 fight. Is Vasquez lapdog decent? Yeah. Guys, what do you think of this? I think at the club level, even the domestic level, it's always a 50-50 fight. A lot of times, no matter what the odds say. So I would say he's live. Rich, thanks for sharing the story about your dad, Johnny. And also, I appreciate the inspirational advice you gave to young guys. Thanks, Rich, man. I appreciate you listening. Look, man, one of my favorite quotes to live by, though, is life is play. We don't stay here forever. I always talk about that. So whatever you try to do, whatever you are doing, you do have an opportunity to do things that you love. Try to do even, it doesn't have to be something crazy. Life's too short not to be doing things or being around people who care about us. That's who I am. That's the spirit of who I am. Life is play. It's one of my favorite quotes. I always say it. Okay, I'm just catching up to the chat. I see all the boys in here. What's up, sis? What's up, King of Life? Chisora will knock out Water. Water's trash. There's my boy Jay. Water always at. Yeah, Yeah, Jay, doesn't it seems like something is fractured mentally. He just went he went on a he went on a tirade last weekend. It was uncomfortable to watch. It's up Deontay makes me uncomfortable. We should have saw it coming. Was it Radio Raheem? To this day. To this day. Radio Raheem is like his boy. He was freaked out on Radio Raheem. Shout out to Radio Raheem. That's my guy. Ryan Garcia, TK on the ninth round. You heard it here, folks. Get your money. Get your money, Alter Eagle Gang. I like it. Alter Eagle Gang. Gang, gang. Let's go, Johnny. Hope all is well. Appreciate you, Shy. We're good. Hope everyone's doing well. Love the Bronze Bomber, but everyone got to watch his last fight against Herndon. I know, man. His legs, his balance. This is what I hope that Charles Martin's legs, meaning balance, not optically. We know about Deontay's optically his legs, but you see with Deontay, the balance sort of thing. We've seen it the last stage of his career, his balance. It's his he never looks comfortable in his foundation. That's a sign of our central nervous system being fried. This is go watch. This is probably the most drastic example. Go watch Evander Holyfield versus Vitor Belfort. Somebody should go to prison for making that fight. Go watch Evander's legs. This is what I mean. And Evander is what 15, 20 years older than Deontay, and I see that in Deontay. Go watch Chuck Liddell versus just his last fight versus Tito Ortiz. When it was it was horrible. People should go to prison for doing that. And you see Chuck's legs; it's like he's walking on glass. But this happens when you've been knocked out a lot, and you had a long fight career, and you have a lot of head trauma, and you have CTE. Your balance is gone. It's one of those things that you could see. Now I see that in Wilder. He never really had the best legs though, but in that Herndon fight, you could see it. I hope Charles Martin does not have that because I need that fight to go the distance. Zuffa got close fights. Yeah, Alter Gang, how you been doing on your Zuffa betting? I mean, we hit the boys and I. We hit good on the Callum Walsh card. We hit good on the J. Rod versus Kane Sandoval card. I didn't do. I got cooked on the. Getting cooked for us is when we lose more than one fight. By the way, if I it's very rare if we lose more than one. But we lost I bet against Boacek. Boacek actually looked good against Butev in a close fight. And then I took granted, these are the breaks. They could have gone either way. Boacek wins the close split. I wasn't mad at that, even though I took Butev. He was a dog. And then Vosdik was up, looking amazing until he wasn't. But these are the breaks of boxing. And shout out to Hot Rod. But that was a Zuffa card where shit just didn't go my way. But since then, we've won everything else. I need. You guys know how we feel about Top Rank. Like Top Rank, we have this big sort of sample size to know that always pick the A side in Top Rank fights. You know what I mean? We've known that as the matchmaking. Zuffa, we're gonna need at least a year of a sample size with their matchmaking to see how they're operating. So I always go into the Zuffa cards half unit, nothing heavy. We still have to figure the reffing mechanics out. You know what I'm saying? We don't have any sort of patterns of behavior yet for Zuffa. Like the UK, patterns of behavior. The ref might just randomly stop a fight. We know that. Top Rank, A sides always win. That sort of thing. With Zuffa, it just started. I still need to we have to just pay attention. War, same. Johnny, how you feel about Ozempic? Look, mate, whatever works for you, bro. The one thing that my mom and I were talking about this yesterday on the phone. If your mom's still around, call her. This is my mom's name is Rose. That's why I got this tattoo. Strongest woman I've ever known. And I told her, I was like, the thing I'm working the most with in 2026 is for my businesses is value. I talked about this to you guys first week of January, adding value. And I think, every day it's a work in progress. How do I add value to the people around me? The other thing is not judging people. So I feel it's part of our human nature to judge people, judge strangers, judge things we don't know. I think it's a fear response. A lot of sort of like, negative emotions come out of just not understanding something. So if you're down 30 pounds and you're feeling amazing about yourself, dude, hats off. Because as a strength coach, I know how hard it is for clients to lose weight. So I've had clients in the past who've been on Ozempic who couldn't lose weight. So, hats off to you, bro, and keep up the good fight. The hardest thing you will ever do is make changes like that. It's a lifelong thing. It's not a switch. So hopefully you have the habits in place to where whenever you choose to get off of Ozempic, you've created habits on a day-to-day basis that will help allow you to keep the weight off. Because there are no magic pills. There's no switch. It's about the habits. Thus, the 24-hour reset. 100%. That's literally why I wrote that book. If the fight was 8 to 10 years ago, 100%. 100%. Yeah, bro, Frank after Gervonta. Don't you see that, man? There's something in Frank's work when he's hitting a heavy bag, when he's I was very, I mean, for people to hate on Frank knocking out Francis, or Francis Rancis, for people, because the haters are going to say he fought an old, I think Rancis was a 38. Why wouldn't the haters focus on what Frank looked like? He was, his energy, like his output, his energy, his intent. It was the intention in Frank Martin's work where I was like, holy shit, this dude has been working. You could see that he would have looked like that. I mean, I don't know what we can't say the outcomes would have been the same against anybody in the division, but what he was doing would have looked like that against anybody. The outcome could have been different depending on the level of competition. The what he looked like, or the energy in his work, was a direct result of the effort he had put into training. And that sort of thing is how you become a world champion. And that's what I was most impressed with. We hit on him. I know we took him on the money line. I'd have to look at our receipts. I think we took him by knockout. I think that was the move. I broke the fight down. But yeah, I was impressed with the energy of his work, the intention of his work. What's up, Mo? Using the search bar is way easier for finding fighting sports, but thank you, bro. I told you I'm learning. Everything is a learn for me. I grew up in a generation of these phones. I grew up in a generation of not having the internet. So I'm all still learning, guys. Guys, we're 48 minutes in. We're floating between 60 and 80 on this live stream. I say thank you. Could you like this video? Hit subscribe. Join our Discord. Join the Patreon. The link is pinned in the comment section. All my bets are up. Boys, for the insiders here, I will be posting one more ticket. If you haven't looked at your books, look at the YouTube members only and look at the Patreon. I posted 2 more today, and I'm going to post 1 more. It's a bit of a degen play, so just keep that in mind. And remember what I said at the beginning of the week, half unit week for me. Even our wins, half unit. So, but there is a method of victory on a heavyweight fight in Russia that I don't want to say it's a safe. These obscure Russian cards, dude, always built around the A side. And when the heavyweights are involved, when I pull the trigger, it'll be in a couple hours. I'll post it. What's up, Young Money? Still good. The box spot. Yeah, so is this Zuffa thing fights on? So this is Zuffa thing, fights on a Sunday. This is horrible. It's interesting, right? Because, Top Dog, it's my Monday, which is like, I can't, because I'm a day ahead of you guys. Right now, it's Saturday morning at 11 a.m. for me. So the Zuffa card doesn't take place until Monday. And because American football is over, I don't mind it. Because your Sunday mornings to watch American football was always my Mondays. So now football ends and Zuffa starts. And I wonder if it was planned. It seems like Dana would have planned it that way. And I don't mind it. Can you give some advice for someone to make money as a pro boxer? Can you give some advice? Are you a pro boxer? Can you give some advices for someone to make money as a pro boxer? Because it's such a brutal sport and it's such a difficult career choice. It's the greatest sport on earth, but it is a blood sport. If you're doing it for the money, I wouldn't do it, which sounds crazy. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not doing it for the love of the game, if you're not doing it to achieve some sort of personal goal, if you're not doing it because you feel something within you needs the competition, the challenge of another human standing in front of you who wants to hurt you, if all of that isn't reverberating through your spirit and the only reason you're doing it is for the money, don't do it. I don't mind Zuffa boxing. There's some good feeder fights every week. Yeah, Ranvar. I agree. I agree. I agree. But already we're seeing though, like we're seeing good matchmaking. We're seeing upsets. We're seeing B-sides winning. Not a lot of knockouts. A lot of decisions. Fury destroy Wilder's mind. No, you're not lying, man. You're not lying. You're not lying. Psychology is a real thing, guys. Johnny, I think Barrios embarrasses Ryan next weekend, and I think Martin pulls the upset. But I do have to watch some more tape. Forgot FA has a 5-inch reach advantage. So you're thinking Charles. I like Barrios at plus money. Guys, if you're on Team Barrios, I think we're set because I'm on Team Barrios here in terms of the tape and how I feel the fight's gonna trend. I feel wait until the weigh-ins to place your bets. Because, you gotta think so much money is gonna be coming on Ryan, which will make the Barrios dog bet even bigger. Now, you're talking Charles Martin. The issue with Charles, other than the age, I don't know, man. I hope he's durable. I got FA winning this on points because of his jab, and people will hate on FA because he doesn't have a lot of output, but that's why I'm choosing the distance. I think FA, the younger guy, the bigger guy, the longer reach, should be able to goddamn operate a 10-rounder. And because he doesn't have a lot of output, I don't want him to step on the gas to try to stop Martin. Martin's what, 37 or 39? Look, it's a domestic heavyweight fight. I mean, I don't want to shade FA. Fringe heavyweight fight. It's world level, I guess. The international heavyweight landscape is kind of going through a sort of turnover right now. It's a main event on Zuffa. Deontay Wilder's a very straight. What's up, Louis? Yeah, man. It's hard for me to get behind a guy who he he treats people in what, like, I'm not a gatekeeper of how you should treat people. This dude's a savage. He's a heavyweight, former world champion boxer, knockout artist with kryptonite in his right hand. So, like, of course you have to be a little bit crazy to do that. But I grew up with a world champion fighter. I didn't just grow up, like, one of my closest childhood mates was Kelly Pavlik, right? I know him like a brother. I've been friends with him since I was 7 years old. One of the nicest kids in the world, one of the nicest humans you will ever meet. Most fighters, no matter what they look like in the ring, are some of the nicest guys you will ever meet because they know they have nothing to prove to people. When I see a guy like Wilder treating people the way he does, dude, I don't live with him. I don't know how his day to day, and I can only reflect on what we see, how he treats reporters, and the things he's been saying lately. It's like, Deontay, maybe you don't need to be fighting anymore. I feel there's a lot of resentment behind his words. There's a lot of bitterness, a lot of angst, a lot of stress. And in a weird way, I'm kind of cheering for him. You know what I mean? I don't want to see any. I don't like witnessing in real time the demise of anybody. I live my life not with, like, I don't feel I've ever had an enemy in my whole life. Like when I was growing up, in college and street fights, like I'm the type of guy to knock somebody out and then help them up. You know what I mean? I've never kicked anybody in a street fight. I've never jumped anybody. I'll pull guys off of guys. Like that's just who I am, my spirit. So like even in competition, if I'm betting on something, I don't want to see like it from everything we hear in Deontay Wilder and judging his sort of like the words he says. I don't think he should be fighting, man. It doesn't sound like he's a psychologically switched on guy. And in a sport that is so psychologically driven, like boxing, it just kind of makes you wonder. I hope he's not doing it for the money. And that's why Chisora, he literally, I mean, Chisora wants to fight. Like Chisora is still all boom, boom. Chisora will be that old head in the nursing home, still flirting with chicks when he's like 80. Like Chisora trying to arm wrestle people. He's Chisora seems like the guy that he's your friend and he wants to bet on everything. Did you guys watch The Last Dance with Michael Jordan? How Jordan's the guys who worked at the United Center, the janitors were telling the story about how Jordan would bet them like $20 who could throw the paper towel closest to the line, or they would take a quarter and flip it and who could get it. Like, Chisora seems like that type of competitor. Once the competition deteriorates in the fight game, you need to hang it up. Wilder has a peanut head. Chisora kind of built like Romero. Oh, Romero. Yoel's 5'8", or Raleigh, who's 5'7". I think you're talking about Yoel Romero. Gets a shot fighter when he tries over one. Yeah, Yoel Romero's Yoel's what? Maybe 5'10". Not a big dude. Chisora's a massive unit, dude. Let's hope Chisora gets that body on his record. Legacy. Good call. Damn, the chat's still popping. I'm just trying to catch up, boys. Main parlay piece. I think Ryan has a good chance. You got to promote yourself and move correctly if you're a boxer. Manny, can I become a boxing coach without ever? Of course. Dude, 100%. You just have to put yourself around the sport. If you want to become a boxing coach, join a gym. If you want it, the best coaches have coaches. So I boxed from the time I was 7 to 15. Didn't box. Didn't even touch a glove from the time I was 15 to 30. And I remember, probably 32. And I remember the first thing I did at the gym I'm working at, it was a fitness gym, not even a fight gym. I hired a coach. Shout out to Luke Jackson, Action Jackson. So I hired the guy. He was an Australian Olympian. Luke was my coach here. He fought actually Carl Frampton in Belfast for a world title. Got beat pillar to post and got stopped. But Luke is the man, Action Jackson. He just opened his own gym in Sydney. Shout out to Luke, man. Hopefully you're well, brother. Johnny, if you had to pick a black fighter to be trained, dude, I brought this up yesterday. This is you're talking about the YSN interview. Yeah, we talked about this. This is a great interview, guys. If you didn't see Robert Garcia, it's only a couple minutes. I think it was the YSN channel. He was being asked, or maybe it was Pro Box. I saw the interview. I watched the interview, and Garcia was talking about Devin Haney. He was talking about the differences in training at RGBA and how all the younger guys who are sparring Bam and sparring Virgil, those guys are trying to beat Bam and Virgil. And Robert tells his younger guys, if you're not trying to knock this kid out, if you're not trying to beat him up, you don't fight. He was like, the issue he felt like and he applauded Bill Haney, he applauded Devin for, their professionalism throughout their careers and his relationship with them. But he said that certain times he feels that fighters, when they get to a certain level, they bring in sparring partners to serve a purpose, which is normal, rather than to beat them. And he was using that as a reference point on why there's been so much recent success coming out of RGBA. He attributes it to the hard sparring, but that's kind of a double-edged sword as well, because you don't want to leave parts of your career in the gym. You know what I mean? And so it really comes down to your coaching and the people in your network, because a guy just wants to spar. Nobody, like, come on, dude. If you've ever, like, it's fun. Like, every fighter, even like weekend warriors, guys that I train, guys I spar, we just want to spar, dude. Nobody wants to work on a little thing. That's not the fun shit, but it's the stuff you don't like to do that makes you a world champion. This is what I always tell my clients. And this is with anybody who has a passion project, trying to build a business, trying to launch a sort of like a side hustle, is do the things that you don't want to do. If you focus on the things that you enjoy, that are fun to do, you're never going to build it into what it should be in its greatest form. If you want to build it into its greatest form, what it means the most to you, focus on the things that aren't fun. And but to answer your question, Brian Norman Jr. would be a great fit with Robert Garcia. I'd love to see that. Any guy, and we do live in a world where ethnicity is boxing is such a ethnic divisive sport. I try not to do. My goal here is, not to do that. I was every gym I grew up fighting. in Northeast Ohio, Youngstown, Ohio. It was just a handful of white kids and everyone else was black. These are my brothers. This is how I grew up. But the rest of the world didn't grow up like this. And we know at the pro level, especially the boxing fandom online, boy, it could get very divisive. But I think Robert, I'd love to see Brian Norman Jr. pair with Robert Garcia. I'd love to see Devin Haney with Robert Garcia. Mad love. Mad love. That's what we do. Hey, bro, let's not forget Water got that dynamite, bro. He does. He does. Perfect project. Passion project. You know, you got me running. User, you got me running. That right hand. But where does the power come from? High interest. You know this. The power comes from the legs. Power comes from the legs. Guys, virtual. We got 60 people in here. We're an hour in. I'm going to take a couple more questions. Talk about any fights you guys, any bet that you're torn on. So this is what we got coming up. So it's a C-level heavyweight fight. I'll leave you with this. This is a prop I've been looking at. Labano by stoppage. It's so obscure. It's really obscure. Maybe we'll do an obscure ticket. Right here. I like that. So if I take Labano by stoppage at 167, I'll do one more for you guys. I think I might play this, and if I do, I'll post it in the Discord. Ross Driscoll. Thiago Mukanga. I was asking about this fight. Mukanga on points? Look at these odds. All right, I got some homework to do, but look at these juicy odds. Mukanga on points or by stoppage. God. Guys, so I'm going to leave you with that. For all you boxing heads like myself who watch this tape, who make money off of this is a fight to look into. It goes down Monday at 6 a.m., so you got time. If I do jump on these props, I'll let you know. I'll post in the Patreon. I'll post in the Discord. You guys stay up.